project. It's going to involve two different color schemes. One's going to be the analogous color scheme, and the other will be the split complement. I'll start with the analogous. It's one of the easiest color schemes for you guys to learn. It's just three colors that touch each other on the color wheel. So any three colors that touch each other will be analogous. So if our base color is green, we select blue, green, yellow, green. Those will be our analogous colors. If our base color is red, violet, we select red, red, violet, and violet. Those will be our analogous colors. So very easy color scheme. Now the split complement's a little trickier, but it's still a very easy color scheme for you guys to learn. Pick your base color. So if I say yellow, we know that the complement of yellow obviously is violet, which it's a color that's directly across from the color wheel. With complements, a lot of people use them for really eye-catching designs because of how bold they are. When you put two complement colors next to each other, it intensifies them and they feel very vibrant. But sometimes that can be considered very garish. So if you want a really nice design that has some of that intensity, but not quite as intense, that's going to look very garish, we go with the split complement. So if our base color is yellow, and we go across, but instead of going to the violet, we take the two to the sides. So it kind of forms an upside down Y on the color wheel. So our split complement will be yellow, violet, blue, and red violets. So we can do another one. If our base color is red orange, instead of going over to the blue green, we take the two on the side, we go green, and we go blue. So that is how we will do our two color schemes that we're working on this week, the analogous and the split complement. Okay, for this project, you're going to need to find images that you've taken yourself, and we're going to color them in. I'm just going to show you this as a demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and change this image black and white, and then I'm going to show you the technique we're going to use to color in our projects. Now, we are going to color in the projects with the two color schemes we talked about, the analogous and split complement. So I'll start with the split complement. So the first thing I want to do is go over a little bit how Photoshop works, because I know that you guys have not used Photoshop too much. We have our tools over here. We have some different menus up on top, and then we have the layers over here. Now, when we work on these, we're going to start making more and more layers, so you're going to be able to see each color on a different layer. Now, for this project, each project must have a minimum of 15 layers, and every project we do in this class will have a minimum of 15 layers. So just keep that in mind when you do these projects. And I know for some of you guys, well, how can we do 15 layers of color if we have just 3 colors from our split complement or analogous color schemes? We're going to do that because we're going to use the tints, tones, and shades. That will give us a much wider range of colors that we'll be able to use. So one of the things that's important before you start is make sure your image is nice and big. So the way that you'll do that is go up to the top and go to image and go to image size. And then when the image size dialog box opens up, it's going to show you how big your image is. So this is obviously 26 inches by 16. It's a very big image. It's 72 dpi, but we're not going to print this out. Remember, if you're going to print something out, it's always 300 for printout and 72 dpi for the web. So this is fine because we're just going to look at this image digitally. So I'll hit OK, and now I'm ready to begin. So the first thing I want to do is change my my image black and white. And how do I do that? I'm going to go down to the half circle in the bottom here, and I'm going to go to black and white. So with the black and white, it's going to come up, and it's going to come up as an adjustment layer, which will be a different layer above. So that's very important. So your little icon here that's half circle, that's going to be your adjustment layer, and you're going to get a new layer that is black and white above. So if we turn that layer off, it's still going to be color underneath, but this layer on top affects the layers below. Let's go ahead and merge that in. We're going to hold down Shift, select the layer below. They're both in light gray, so we know that they're both active. And we're going to do a Command E or Command Elefante and merge them together. All right, this background layer is locked. I can unlock it, though. There's no need to have it locked right now. So now we're ready to start doing our colors. So with our colors, we do want to go on and select one of your colors that you used in your color palette from your either analogous or your split complement. I'll start with the split complement on project in the future. I'll do the analogous project. So I go to solid color, and I will pick one of the colors from my analogous color scheme, which I will start with. Let me move this over so you guys can see. I'll start on blue green. Let's try that. And that's where I'm going to start to paint in my colors. Now quickly we'll go over to, I have my color wheel should be up here from, let me see if I can, oh there it is, there's my color wheel. Here I'm going to go blue green and I will do these colors. This will be my split complement colors, the blue green, the orange, and the red. So I will go back, I got two different windows open here, that's why I jumped there. Here's one window where I had the traditional color wheel, and then I have my another one that has got my blue-green. Now, you can see here that I've got the little brackets around the color square. I want to move the brackets over to this white square. So what I want to do is just click on the white square. Do not click on the little link there, that'll be a problem. Click right over here and see how the brackets have come through. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Command on the keyboard and do I or Island or Isla, Command I to inverse the color. And now it's going to be ready to paint. I want to make sure I'm on the brush tool. The brush tool is located 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down on the toolbar. I want to make sure that my white swatch is on top. Now to rotate them, I can do it here at this little arrow here, or I can hit X on the keyboard, we'll do the same. And then these little tiny swatches will take it back to the original black and white. So if you come in and this is a different color, the little tiny swatches will do it. So I'm ready to paint, I'm on my brush tool. I want to come up here to my brush tool, and you can see right here where there's a little brush. If I click on that, I open it. I want to make sure that I can go in and I'm going to go into my general brushes. There's a little arrow here. I click on that and I go to hard round. I want to make sure that I'm on a hard round brush. So that's good. It's ready to go. Now, how do I paint this in? Well, I'm going to need to zoom in. So the way I do that is Command on the keyboard and plus on the keyboard. And I can zoom in and I can make the duck bigger, bigger, bigger. And then if I go Command minus, it becomes smaller, 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 smaller. Command plus is bigger, 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 and Command minus is smaller, smaller, smaller. All right, so I will also show you that if you hold down the space bar on the keyboard, a lot of people like to move it around like this, but if you hold down space bar on the keyboard, the brush with the pointer tool becomes a hand, and then I can just easily move it around to where I want. So let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to go and it should be ready to paint, and it is going to be applying a color on this image now. Now your only problem is, notice how you're not seeing anything underneath. I'm going to lose any imagery that's gone underneath there. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be gone. So what I want to do is change my blend mode. My blend mode is right here, and I'm going to change it to multiply. And then when it's on multiply, I can go in here and I can color in my baby duck perfectly. So what I need to do is do Command plus and zoom in. And now if my brush is going to be too big, what I'm going to do is the brackets on the keyboard. The brackets are located right underneath the plus and minus. And I can use the brackets to make my brush very small. I can use the brackets to make them very big. So you guys are going to take your time and you're going to go ahead and brush or paint in all the duck. So we're going to paint this, like I said, at 15 layers. So I'm going to have to figure out how I want to break apart my baby duck into 15 layers. But this will be a challenging image to do it because it's so minimal. So when you pick your imagery, you might want to pick out an image that has many, many images and objects in there. So it's very easy to break into 15 parts, because this is a natural break where the water meets the duck. That's not a problem painting that in. But if I have areas that are in the back here where there's no clear transition line, then it's going to be a problem. Then I'm not going to know exactly where my baby duck is going to flow from one color to another. So when you select out a object, I definitely want you to select out something that is going to be very easy to color in. All right, so when I do this, I want to think about doing a new color. Let's say I want to do the beak. So I'm not going to take so much time to do it perfectly right now because if I do that, you guys will be watching this demo forever. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to the half circle again. And I'm going to go to solid color again. And this time I will pick red. Make sure, now this, one thing about the color picker, this changes the color, but it does not select the color. I need to actually click over here to select the color. So I select the red, it's set up perfect. I move over the brackets on the white, I do a Command I, and now I can go ahead and I can paint in the beak. Now this is a delicate area, so I want to go ahead and I want to zoom in and take my time and color this in as perfectly as possible. Now you're noticing again that what's happening is we're not seeing that imagery underneath. That again is because the blend mode is not turned. So I do multiply and then I go ahead and I can paint this in. Now I have to keep this demo down to 15 minutes or the video recorder is going to shut off on me. So I'm going to show you, I could sit here and paint this in perfectly, but that would be a lot of time wasted. So I'm going to show you how to do the other colors. Now, let's do a tint, tone, or shade. So I can go ahead, I do a new color, solid color. Let's say I go back to the red. So the red is here, but these are the tints, tones, and shades. So remember, a tint is when you add white to a color, a tone is when you add gray to a color, and a shade is when you add black to a color. So I can experiment here. I can go with more of a pink color, I can go more with a maroon. These are all colors of the hue red. So we have plenty to choose from. So it doesn't have to be super dramatic. It's up to you. It could be a slight color shift. But I go over here and move the brackets over, do a Command I, and then I can change my blend mode to multiply and then paint this in. So that is how you are going to paint in. And for this assignment, I want you to do 2 projects that are analogous color schemes and 2 projects that are split complement. You do need to find images that you took yourself and make sure that they should all be large images. If you had them on your phone, they're probably going to be fine. I'm not expecting you guys to get an expensive camera and take pictures. They could be from trips you've taken in the past, but all the imagery should be things that you care about. So please, you know, if you're super into, let's say you're into cars, or you're into your pets, or you're into fashion, try to pick imagery that is something that you really are passionate about. And then remember, 2 of them need to be split complement, 2 of them are going to be analogous, and they all have to be 15 layers. So, and really zoom in, because when I critique this project, I will zoom in and I'll look and make sure that the craft is really good. So I want you guys to do the best job you can. So you should be taking significant time on each one of these projects. This should not be something that you're done very quickly if you really take your time. Select your photos that, like this, if I want to go in there and do every little strand of hair on the brush, and the reason, I mean on the duck, it's going to be very, very difficult. So that's the reason I chose the duck, so you guys could see, like this is an area that even I would have a hard time. And I really have to zoom in and go ahead and do that. So if I want to go back to that, remember, when you go back to that layer, you need to make sure the brackets are over on the black square here. If you don't, it's going to be a problem. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is if you make a mistake, let me make a mistake and just say, oops, I made a mistake there, it went too far away. If I put the black on top, then if I go over here, it becomes an eraser. So it's very important to use the X tool, that if the white's on top, it adds. Remember, the brackets will make the brush bigger and smaller. And if I use the X tool and put the black on top, it's an eraser. So I could go in there, really zoom in and do a really good job on this, but it's going to take me a long time. So I want 15 layers of colors here using the solid color overlay, move the brackets over, do a Command I, and change your blend mode to multiply. And I want 2 analogous and I want 2 split complement. Do your best job on these and I look forward to seeing them.